Now, can you imagine if you lived in the 1910s or the 1920s and you saw for the first time in your life an aircraft fly right in front of you? Yeah, you've heard about them. Maybe you read about them in the paper. Maybe you heard about them in the Great War, but you never seen one. And then you're out in your field one day, and here comes this biplane flying right past you. Your mouth is agape. You're like, I can't believe what I just saw. You're incredulous. Now, my sense of wonderment about the Ruger SFAR is not quite to that level, but I do share some of it. Yeah, seeing a biplane for the first time, seeing for the first time a sub 7-pound AR-10. I have a sense of wonder. Is this real? Has this really happened? Ruger SFAR, 6 pounds, 11 ounces naked on my scale. This is a 16-inch barreled version. Oh my goodness. From a major manufacturer, Ruger, of course. It performs. It's easy to manage. It's small frame. It's compact. And it doesn't break the bank. Am I dreaming? Is this real? Let me pinch myself. Ouch. It's real. It has happened. These have been selling like crazy already. Like crazy. I mean, I've been trying to get one for review for at least 4 months from Gunny's, the Great American Gun Store. They finally came through for me. Thank you, Gunny's. Wyatt, Ron, the manager. Thank you very much. They finally came through for me, and that's where this gun came from. So it's on loan from Gunny's, Orem, Utah. Thank you to them. Got it. Very exciting, but it took a while. Now, they had a standing order. Please save one SFAR for Nut and Fancy reviewing purposes. They didn't do it for like all the ones that came in. And they didn't get a lot. So they'd get like 1, 2, and then they sell. Fast selling. Now, I'm happy to see this. I truly am. Because I have been one of the world's biggest advocates for AR-10s in general. Never mind a lightweight AR-15 sized AR-10, but AR-10s in general, to good, honest, hard-working, moral, principled civilians just like yourself. That's right. That's my audience, by the way. Good dudes. Good dudes. That's who this review is intended for. Good dudes. Good people. The hardworking people of America. You guys. And you guys get it. And they have been selling like crazy. I might throw some more gasoline on that fire with this tabletop review. I opted to review it on tabletop. Hope you don't mind. Yeah, I think I'm going to throw some gas on the fire, bros. Now, in my donation service, Patreon currently, who knows what the future holds, join up, please. I'll wait for you to sign up. Back already? That was quick. Anyways, make sure your payment method in Patreon doesn't expire. I am truly saddened to see every month I lose like 50 dudes, sometimes more, whose payment methods expire and they don't come back. I don't think they mean to leave. Then they're gone. So when they go to a large extent, these gun reviews go to a large extent. I'm not joking. So they pay for the review. They paid for the ammo, the gun if I buy it. They pay for optics, gasoline, and maybe some food that I put in my fat face. Thank you very much, donors. Oh, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. So in the donation community, this is what I've been hearing forever. Well, not forever. For at least 6 months. Dude. SFAR review. Please. It's the AR-10 you've been ranting about. It's finally a reality. Please. Here it is. Thanks for waiting, bros. I have been contacting dudes in message form, in Patreon, always the best way to get to me. Get a hold of me, I should say. And it takes me a while to go through the messages, and their messaging service sucks, so please be patient. I'll get to you. But I've been telling them, buy the SFAR. That's even before I tested it. I'll come out and say that immediately. I said, because they asked me, like, hey, man, I really want to buy the small frame auto-loading rifle. SFAR, and then I had a typo in my intro video on Patreon. I call it the SFAT. So I might call it the SFAT as a joke. The SFAT, or maybe the SFART. Just as a joke. So I said, yeah, go and buy your SFART I anticipate very good things from it. I just don't know about the accuracy. And I think some guys went out and pulled the trigger on it and got it before the review, but they did talk to me first, so well done. I do always want you to wait for the review because sometimes we are surprised. And by we, I mean you and I. A gun I think that should run well, that has a good pedigree, like from Ruger, sometimes it fails to impress me. I hated, for instance, the Ruger LC carbine. Not because it was unreliable, it wasn't, but just because I hated it. It violated the principles of SAWC, size and weight constraints. That is my own term. It is found in a lot of places now. It came from here, the Nut and Fancy Project. It is one of my famous rants. I have been very consistent about lightening everything. Please lighten everything. Please, please, please. Guns, knives, not necessarily watches. I'll give a pass to watches. Scopes, nods. That's an AGM knife. Is that how you say it? Really excellent, high value nod. I'll put a link to that below. Undergoing testing. So far, so good. Yeah, lighten everything. And especially the AR-10. I think a lot of you guys are just tuned in watching this review because you want to see my excitement of an AR-10 that finally gets it. Well, an affordable AR-10 that finally gets it, and here we are. Let me pinch myself again. Ouch! Not a dream. Now, I'm a huge advocate of AR-10s. Anyone who's watched the project should know this. This has been a long time ago. I've been preaching the benefits of the AR-10, starting with the DPMSs, right? If you don't know this, you're way behind. You got a lot of videos to catch up on. Now, as a competitive offering, as a representative of a normal-sized AR-10, I do have one of my beautiful Palmetto PA-10s coated in very glossy, which I did on purpose, gun coat. This is the weight you're normally going to have with an AR-10 that's outfitted. Can you read my weight there? 10 pounds, 1 ounces with a little down arrow. It is what it is, bro. It is what it is. If you wanted an AR-10 that was cost effective, this is what you were going to pay, and you still might pay. And by the way, let me say this right now. I am not going to stop recommending these AR-10s. Not in every situation do you need a sub 7 pound AR-10. In a lot of situations for static defense or something, or vehicular operations, this one will work just fine. But if you're going to go hiking, if you're going to have a man-portable system with all the accoutrements, which I've spoken many times, LB, body armor, first aid, self-contained system, this is too heavy. In years past, what would we do? Oh, we take an AR-15. We accept the limitations of a 5.56, which honestly, a 5.56 still gets it done. If you're defending home, family against marauding communist zombies, a 5.56, especially in a 75 or 77 grain load, is legit. If you go with a, defensive focused or hunting focused load, even better. But I'll tell you what, there's nothing that hits like, well, I shouldn't say nothing, but in an AR pattern format that is readily accessible to us, an AR-10 is where it's at. And I say it, and I have said, I will always employ an AR-10 system in a serious way, like GTW, whenever possible. And I think most TMPers do agree with me. I've talked to, well, probably at this point, thousands that have said as much. Sorry, getting over a cold. Yeah, and they go, dude, you're right. AR-10's where it's at. Now, sub 7 pound, very exciting. The Ruger S Fat, SFAR. All that's great. We're not going to get past the heaviness of the ammunition. 7.62 51 308. Still heavy. Is what it is. 20 round, not 30 round magazines usually. This is a 25 round PMag. You can get these. So, still kind of heavy. Here comes a C Products. Excellent magazine, by the way. This is just loaded with Wolf Steel. It's heavy. It's heavy. By the way, I shot plenty of this out of that. I'll get to all that. Trust me. Yeah, it is what it is. I mean, at least it's not 50 BMG, y'all. That's a little bit heavier. This, by the way, is a recovered slug from my Barrett M82A1 testing. This is 660 grain. I think just BMG ammo, just standard D-linked BMG ammo, like this one. after hitting the steel plate. That's pretty sick, right? No joke. Yeah, you're not porting around your M82. And in the M82 review, what did I say? I said an AR-10 is what you should employ. I think it's unrealistic to go with a 50 BMG. For most of you guys, it's just too expensive, too heavy, too complicated, too hard to find the ammo, very hard to find a place to shoot it, blah, blah, blah. Go watch all that stuff, the POU video and the M82 review. I may do more 50 content. We'll see. We'll see. But this gun, as light as it is, opens up new realms. And by that I mean, well, number one, it's affordable. So it's not hyper expensive. It's affordable for what it is. Guys are going to employ this for GTW rather than an AR-15. I'm talking my audience members who, again, are good civilians, awesome dudes. Lot are law enforcement. I mean, where did my Antoine Harris patch go? Here it is. He's a sheriff's deputy down there in Harris County. Thank you for sending me this. Very nice. One of my elite donors, by the way. Antoine, what's up? So, yeah, like him, maybe you employ an AR-10. Well done. Well, I think that's going to happen. This is really going to change the AR world in general. And Ruger's going to be a trailblazer. Now I think you're going to see other companies follow suit, because when Ruger does something, then everybody starts doing it. And it becomes commonplace. You're going to see more AR-10s, I predict, that are going to be lightweight along these lines. I suspect that Palmetto will get it done too. They'll come up with their variation, their design changes, I suspect. And it will probably be a little less, a little more affordable is what I'm trying to say, than the Ruger SFAR, which, by the way, I think is in the ballpark. I think it retails at $1,330 currently, all subject to change. It'll street for a lot less. If you do buy it from Gunny's. Support my store that supports this content. Thank you very much. Now, some of you guys have typed already, probably telling me about the POF Revolution DI. Also 6.8 ounces, 6.8 pounds. I understand. I have been talking about that gun for quite some time, anytime I review an AR-10. The POF Revolution DI is fantastic from what I know about it. Now, I have shot plenty of POF guns and they've all performed very well. I suspect the POF Revolution DI would be no different. The problem is I can't get one for review. Gunny's never got one. POF never offered me a loaner to just get the content out. Shame on you, POF. Shame on you, POF. You should have contacted me. Now we've got the Ruger SFAR. I don't have a reference tabletop of your product to tell the viewers about. Now, I don't cozy up to the gun manufacturers. I don't get guns from them normally. Actually, I can't remember the last time I ever did it. That way I can say whatever the heck I want. So, but POF should have done that, because that's an expensive gun. It's like $2,800 list. That's for the black version. It's like $2,900 for any colorized version of the POF Revolution DI. It's expensive. Hard for me to get. And it's turned out impossible for me to get through my normal channels. Yeah, but so that gun's out there. It's been out there for some time. But it's super expensive and hard to find. Guys would have paid that price. Some guys, there are TMPers that have, well, quite a lot of money. Good on you. The POF Revolution DI has some outstanding features. Has that heat sink barrel nut, which I love. Has an outstanding trigger in it. Has the dual extractors that this gun also has. I wonder where they got that idea. Yeah, I do think that Ruger, to their credit, by the way, probably had a POF Revolution DI, and they completely researched and studied everything about that gun. Decided maybe to be inspired from some elements of that gun. I do see some of them here, like this end plate right here. This is all POF Revolution DI. That's a QD Cup end plate on the back of the upper. I was like, that's just like a POF Revolution, dude. Yeah, well, it is very Ruger-esque, though. I mean, it's not copying it. Yeah, the POF Revolution DI is a fantastic gun, but it's out of reach for most dudes at that price and also availability. There, I represented it. Philosophy of use I've discussed so many times. With AR-10s, it hits harder. We've discussed that. It really complicates the defensive strategy of anybody who means to do you harm, take away your freedom, just do bad things to you. I sometimes call those people communist zombies. And maybe they are real zombies. I don't know. Do real zombies still exist? I don't even know. Yeah. So you have a guiding moral principle. I ain't worried about you guys. So to your righteous purposes, again, I recommend an AR-10 over an AR-15 usually. Not always, but usually. I personally will implement one whenever, again, my own system can take it. System being, how far am I traveling? How much stuff do I need to take? Do I have vehicular support? How is my health personally? That's a big one, by the way. If your health is jacked up, your legs are jacked up, you're overweight, you're dealing with this, you're dealing with that. You know, it is what it is. And as we age, things don't get so much better. They get worse. They get worse. Philosophy use is standard. Other than, by the way, like I said, and I hit this already, this is going to replace the AR-15 in a lot of guys' systems. And incidentally, the 7.6251 is one of the few calibers that is still widely available. It's relatively inexpensive for what it is. It did not experience that same level of shortage that we have seen in years past, or the same level of price increases, judging from my own research and what I've seen. Now, I think with the SFAR, this is all going to change. You're going to have a lot more dudes shooting .308. Mark my words. Get your ammunition now, stock up now, because I do think the demand will go up as these become more prominent in the AR world. I see it happening. Why wouldn't it happen? Especially at the price point. Okay, on we go with features. How did it shoot? Would I integrate a Ruger SFART into my own system? You guys are here for that, right? Now, when I talk about the shrinkage of the AR-10 system into the SFAR, what I'm going to do is I'm going to reference an excellent American Rifleman review of this gun. They're really the only reviews I ever really pour over these days. Occasionally I'll bounce here or there after I'm done with my testing. But the American Rifleman reviews are still excellent. And I like them. And I really like their review on this. They go into the nitty gritty of how Ruger shrunk an AR-10 to make it fit into a true AR-15 format. For instance, this is an AR-15 size compatible charging handle. Yeah, they'll give you all the dimensions in that article. I'm not going to go over all that in the review. I'll go over some broad strokes. Otherwise, the review goes too long and it becomes boring. Not fancy, I'm already bored. No, you're not. You're lying. By the way, make sure you sign up for Patreon. Did I tell you that already? Please, please, please. Yeah, I need that support, bro. And the review watch is, by the way, an Aviate 4003, hands modded by me. Discontinued. This in that beautiful silver coloration. Don't even worry about it. They're long gone. They've been out of production for about 4 years now. I'll talk about this other cool stuff on the table as we go along. Features of the Ruger SFAR. Let me see. I'll start at the muzzle brake, dude. Okay, it's loud. It's loud. That is a legit muzzle brake, though. A legit. And it's a very interesting fitment on an AR-10. Right? And they call this thing the Boomer muzzle brake. Yeah, effective? I don't know if I'm the ultimate expert on muzzle brake effectiveness. I've never really measured like recoil force, then taken it off and do without muzzle brake shooting. I don't have time or interest to do that. I'm just talking incidentally. Yes, very effective. I would probably leave it on, dudes. Can you believe I said that? It is loud. Don't stand to the side of it. It's very unpleasant, but it does work. It has a very strong jam nut on there. I was toying with the idea of putting a suppressor on and going through the hassle of tuning this for reliable can use. I changed my mind when I saw how firmly affixed to the barrel it was, and I didn't want to have to mar it up on this loaner rifle. Yeah, so I just left it on. I was like, not going to do can use on this. Now, if you've ran a suppressor on an AR-10, you may or may not know. Well, if you've actually fired it, you do know. It can cause problems for reliability, right? So the gas volume from a 308 AR-10 is a lot different than a 5.56. And it has to be tuned for reliable use wisely. just like the Poff Revolution DI, Ruger put on an adjustable gas block. There you go. 4 position, off, and then 1, 2, 3. Normal position, I believe, is 2. Position 1 is for cans. And then super duper duper cool, they actually put a hex key in there. It's a 3/16 hex key in the pistol grip. The MOE pistol grip, which we'll come back and look at here in a second. Oh my goodness. Well done, Ruger. Can't get this flipper off. There we go. Look at that, dudes. Look at that. Well done, dude. And incidentally, this is what I talk about all the time. This is how you store stuff. You just put some closed cell foam in there. Put your coin batteries in there. Couple Allen keys. Don't get carried away. Don't put extra weight in there you don't need. I think this is good weight. And by the way, I weighed it with that in it. That 6 pound, 11 ounce weight was with that Allen key in it. Excellent. So you have an adjustable gas block here. Very excellent. The gas block did not come loose on me. It has a 2-screw attachment. I didn't loosen those up to see if they were dimpled. I do have that Magpul VG on there. I added that late in testing just for stand-up testing, and I do love it. That's an MVG on the M-Lock compatible rail. 15-inch. Really nice rail, dudes. I got to tell you, Ruger, you did an excellent job with pretty much every component I see on the SFAR. There, I said it. I like it. The rail's fantastic. It's small, trim, highly ventilated. And here comes another thing that Ruger got right that I have been ranting about forever. Can you tell what it is, TMPers? I'll wait. Do, 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 do. I'm showing it to you right there, dudes. They didn't run pick rail all the way down the rail. Thumbs up from Nothing Fancy to Ruger. This is what I've been ranting about for so many years. I'm like, you don't need pick rail. It just adds weight. Ruger got it. Great job. You have it at the front if you want to run BOIS. By the way, those latest gen Magpul, speaking of Magpul, BOIS, outstanding. Oh my gosh, I'll put a link to Pro 2A Optics Planet below, or go to Gunny's if you're in Orem, Utah. Buy it from them. Oh my gosh, I want to put a set on these. They're so lightweight, they're just 1 ounce a piece. No BOIS, of course, on the Ruger SFAR. They're keeping down costs. And I don't think a lot of guys run BOIS anymore. I do predict with the latest generation of BOIS, guys will start doing it again because they're super lightweight. Okay, back to the rail. M-Lock, obviously, really nice rail. Got some QD provisions up front if you want to, run your sling attachment up there. I think a lot of guys will. 2-screw attachment. It did not come loose during testing. This is a very standard attachment method. The barrel. Now, this is where a company needs to spend money. This is another one of my rants because I can pretty much tell you with most guns what the barrel quality is from my own shooting. Like, I'm talking rested shooting, not tactical shooting. If it's a high quality barrel, that will show itself in accuracy usually. Not always, but usually, assuming that everything else is squared away. This is the 16-inch barreled SFAR, as I've told you. It's what I opted for. I would do it all over again. I haven't tested a 16-inch AR-10 for some time. I have before. One was it the Bushmaster? Whatever it was. I did it in years past. They also have a 20-inch barreled SFAR for now. I do kind of wish they would have come out with an 18-inch barrel. Speaking of lengths, that would have been nice. Would I prefer an 18 over a 16 in AR-10 format? Going back to POU, it really depends on what you're going to employ it for. If you're 300 yards or inside, I would say go with a 16. A little bit of a change because I've always kind of liked the 18, more power, more velocity. You'll get like 50 to 70 feet per second more per inch of barrel length depending on load from my past testing. I didn't really chrono this one. I think most guys, without even hesitating, will get the 16-inch SFARs. I think the 20s will be sitting on the shelves. There, I said it. But I know the gun world pretty well. I definitely know my audience pretty well. I know my audience will go for that. Back to the barrel, though. 4140 steel, 5R rifling, cold hammer forged. That is pretty awesome. And by the way, look at the diameter of this barrel. It's 0.59 inches post gas block. And on this side, 0.75 inches. That's not a skinny barrel to meet weight considerations. Another good thing Ruger did. That means this is a barrel that can do sustained fire, that when it does get warm, shouldn't throw the shots. I, by the way, did not see that. Well done. I love that they use 5R rifling, one of my all-time favorite rifling methods. Excellent job, barrel. Excellent job, handguard. Excellent job on the muzzle device. Forged upper and lower. Is that the Cerro Forge marking right here? I think so. Forged upper and lower. Another one of my avocations, we shall say. Okay, I always love forged. I'm not a huge billet guy. It's usually heavier. Yeah, it can be cooler. It can add certain features. But look at this one. I mean, this almost looks like it's billet the way it is molded, right? And the formed magwell there. That's a forged piece, dudes. 7075 T6 forged with a mag flare in it. Well done, Ruger. I love they went forged. Stronger, more capable. Well done. All the other features are standard AR-10, AR-15. You got a forward assist, completely unnecessary. I wish they would have deleted that. That would be nice. Maybe Ruger in the future, you do SFAR LW, lightweight. You get rid of that and you do, should I even say this, a slightly skinnier barrel just to get it down to, I don't know, 6 pounds even. That would sell like crazy. You're welcome. Guys will love that if you did that. They will love it. This one's fine for me, but I'm just saying, I know what the market likes. Yeah, I love that. And their control standard, I like that it's a 90-degree standard AR-10, AR-15, safety lever. And then we go to the trigger. They call it the Elite 452 trigger. They say it pulls at 4.5 pounds. It features a full-strength spring, which you do want for reliable ignition of a 308 cartridge. What you're looking at is not the stock trigger. That is a POF, speaking of POF, 4.5 pound also trigger cassette that I installed. Why did I install that? Why didn't you just stick with the Elite 452 trigger? Well, the honest answer is I actually started shooting this without looking at all the specifications. I didn't really know it was supposed to be a special trigger, and I didn't like the trigger. That's why. When I shot it, I thought I was shooting kind of a mil-spec trigger. Not quite as, stiff as a mil-spec, but I was like, this is not a great trigger. Sorry, Ruger. Now, I think most of you guys would be completely adequate with the stock SFART trigger in it. I say rock on. But I had this one, I threw it in, and it pulls better than the stock trigger. That's why. There you go. We have an oversized trigger guard in here. I love they did that. Very nice. And then this charging handle is not like an enlarged charging handle on it. It's just a standard that comes with it. Would I put a larger one on? Yeah, I would. Definitely I would. But it is AR-15 compatible. That is super sick. Super sick. Love this optic, by the way. Love it, love it, love it. That is the Primary Arms SLX. This one in 3 power. 3 power. That is a fantastic optic. I've reviewed it already. Look for my review. It tested on a Ruger 1022, of all things. But then it has migrated off of that one and come over here. And I don't know if I'd ever take this off a Ruger 16-inch barreled SFAR. It really matches well. I mean, it would match better if the color was right, but oh my gosh, the field of view on that sucker, it's illuminated, has auto wake up, it's built like a friggin' tank, forged aluminum housing. Link below, taking you to Pro 2A Optics Planet, and also if you're in the Utah area, drop by Gunny's and buy them. Okay, now, this is where the rubber hits the road for a shrunk AR-10. Again, reference the American Rifleman review. Really excellent. Has all the details and measurements of how they did that. But it basically boils down to finding the right materials that can make this a strong bolt carrier and bolt. Now, they aren't the first ones to do this. POF did it first. And POF was very secretive, shall we say, about their alloys they used. I suspect that, and I don't know this, but I suspect that the high-strength special alloys here in this bolt, high-strength super alloy, are going to be very similar to the POF. So the bolt body that you see right there, I'm not taking it apart because I don't want to. That is the same diameter as an AR-15 bolt, dudes. 0.5 inches. Same as an AR. Now, of course, it's set up let me open this up a little bit here. It's set up for, you know, the size of the 7.6251 cartridge. We know that. Where is my light? Let me get my Olight here. Only the highest production values known to the YouTube world. Nothing fancy, of course. There you go. Right there. You can see it really nicely. Oh my gosh, why do you need to do inset video when you have this quality of crap? Okay, and then you may get a glimpse of the dual extractors there, and then the tapered lug geometry. And, I'm doing a crappy job actually, the tapered lug geometry and those lugs on the bolt body are thicker. Much thicker than a regular AR. Very interesting. Very interesting. So what results is you have, well, for now, I mean, we're looking for track record on the SFAR, aren't we? This is a new gun, so we really won't know for a couple of years if this is going to work through high rounds counts. My prediction is it will. That's my prediction, but we won't know for sure. But what we have is a bolt carrier and a bolt body that is ready and able to withstand the pressures, the operating requirements of a 308. But it's an AR-15 size. I mean, the receiver is smaller. It's not a DPMS size receiver. Again, reference that article. They have all the measurements for you. Notice the vent holes in the bolt body. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Nitride coated, by the way. And that bolt carrier is chrome lined, and it's made out of 8620 steel. And again, the bolt is made out of super strength special alloys. There you have it. Whatever they did, dudes, it's impressive, especially at this price point. POF did it first, but it's not at a reasonable price point. And it was super expensive. Dual extractors, we looked at that, talked about it. I love they did that. We got to move on. MOE pistol grip on this variation. I love MOE. Fantastic. If you, for whatever reason, decided to take off this back plate right here, dudes, this one right here, you're going to have to either lop this off, contour it, or find a pistol grip that would be compatible. But that's a standard AR pistol grip, dudes. Really excellent. And then on the back, we have the MOE SL buttstock, which I do love. Has some QD cups there ready for you. The back pad is polymer. Perfect. I mean, Magpul gets it right. It's just perfect. It's not too slick. Doesn't grab. I don't have to tape this because it's just that right combination of stickiness, locking into place, and just comfort also. Really nice choice of stock. You might put something even lighter on if you're really looking for ounces like the MFT. And that's features down and dirty. I may have forgot stuff and I don't really care. How did it shoot the Ruger SFAR? Nothing fancy. Now, my awesome donors, by the way, you're going to see scrolling at the end of this video. I may do this in the future. What I did is I asked them, hey, if you want your name to be in the Ruger SFAR review, throw down a comment and I'll put it there. I usually have overlaid that like in the middle of the video. I'm going to start doing it at the end. That way if I need to snip it out, I can do it. You know, if we go into Clown World Mark II, round 2, I may do that. But those dudes at the end of the video, elite. They're the ones that made, some of the ones that made this video possible. Thank you so much. And they were telling me, this is why I'm talking about donors, they are saying that there has been a rumor that the earlier SFARs had reliability problems. Now, you would think that I would know this by doing my own internet research, but I don't do that. I just kind of take it out and shoot it and find out for myself. Okay? And so what we have here is a very fresh take on the SFAR. Again, I'm not going to say it's the ultimate review. It's not. It's just my 2 cents on it and how it shot. Did we have reliability problems with the Ruger SFAR? Yes, some. You didn't see that coming, did you? You're like, whoa, the way you're building that up, I thought it was 100%. No, there were some problems. So Sean, in his testing site Alpha, took it out, which I want to talk about here in a second. And he had a really hard jam. I wasn't with him, but he filmed it. I mean, this was a brass casing. They got so stuck in the SFAR that he couldn't get it out through normal methods. He couldn't like mortar it, have it come out, nothing. He finally had to get out a cleaning rod and tapped it out, and you'll see it here. That's as it came out. Yeah, and it's stuck. He had one. And then he had, I think, another stoppage. It just didn't feed. And while I was testing it, I had one stoppage. And I hope to find that. If I don't, just take my word. It was one stoppage. And I myself shot it for 450 rounds. That's a lot. That's a lot of money spent. Thank you, donors. I don't have a sponsor, ammo sponsor. And then I think Sean shot it for like another at least 200 rounds. So this gun, the one you're seeing on table, was shot a lot. It did experience some malfunctions, but with me, only one. I shot it with the C Products steel magazine, which was 100%. I shot it with a PMag 25, 100%. I shot it with the one that came with it, the 20-round PMag, and some others. And I will say that it got my trust and reliability. I don't really see a reliability issue with it. And let me say this. With my stoppage in the SFAR, it was that Geico 165 grain. No, not Geico Insurance. It's like a German 165 grain match round. I ran it in Red Skies 23. Actually, Red Skies 22. And it did okay. But I did have some stoppages in that in a Smith & Wesson M&P 10. Point being, it could be ammo related. That's all I'm saying. And one reason I shot it so much for myself, and that's a lot of rounds for me to spend that money, is because I wanted to know for myself. It's a SFAR GTW reliable. I won't say any gun will be 100%. I won't say any gun won't go down on you. I've had my M&P 10s stop once in a while. I've had my Palmettos stop once in a while. I've seen the Diamondback do it. It's very, very rare, but it does happen. I'm going to give, at least from what I know in my own data, the Ruger SFAR a clean bill of health. I'm not going to condemn it for those things. I can't. It doesn't make sense to do so. The bottom line is, would I run an SFAR in a GTW situation? The answer is yes. How's that for an answer? How's that for data? And I shot it a lot to come to that answer. Now, what I am thinking about doing is purchasing this from Gunny's, the Great American Gun Store, shooting it more, using it as test beds for like, I don't know, night vision equipment, optics, competitive options for other AR-10 reviews. You'll probably see that happen. And then if something happens, I'll let you know. If suddenly it just chokes and starts blowing up and it's horrible, I'll make another video and I'll say, you know what? My data's changed. I don't anticipate that happening. I don't think it will happen, but it could happen. Could happen. How did it shoot accuracy-wise? Nothing fancy. This is really where my reservation rested when I recommended this to guys. I was like, hey, I think the SFAR is going to be fantastic. You can go ahead and get one, but I'm really not sure how it's going to shoot. I predict, this is what I told them. I said, I predict it's going to shoot about 2 MOA. With me, it shot a little bit worse operationally in the desert. That's what I got out of it. So that's not a horrible group there. And this is a 168 atomic match. This is a different group right here. This one right here. 1, 2, 3. 168 atomic. Now, out of a good bolt gun, atomic, that is a competition load. That will shoot half MOA out of a good bolt gun. This is that Geico 165 grain match. Not great. I said I got my one jam. This is before I knew it had a special trigger. I was like, trigger, I don't really like it. Widely of variable zeros. And by that I mean when I went from one load to another, the load was shooting way different, which is interesting. And it's not the only gun I've seen that, but I saw it here. PMC. There's a really nice group, 168 grain match. Oh, I'm sorry. That's the PMC load. And this is a 168 grain match right here. I can't believe PMC shot that well. And it shot it again. What you might see with your SFAR is that it likes certain, bullets better. You might have to spend some money and test. And the PMC out of this particular one seemed to shoot pretty good. American Eagle always shoots crappy. That's a group. That's about what you can expect out of normal ball ammunition from your SFAR. Remington Core-Lokt. It's a great round. I was disappointed. I thought it would be so much better. That's, I think, a 4-round group, though, and I just had one flyer there. Now, Sean did better than me, so he went to Site Alpha, which let me speak to real quickly. That was on public land. He went out on a Saturday, and I reviewed his video he gave me. First time I've ever used a 2-tier testing process, by the way, in the SFAR review. Trivia question. And it sounded like a damn war was going on around him. I'm going to cut to field right now and listen to the rounds zipping over his head of shooters nearby on that hill sending rounds and ricochets by him. Here we go. Check this out. That's pretty scary, right? I don't think he knew all of that when he was shooting because he had double hearing protection. In post-production, I was like, dude, you had ricochets going all around you. Not from him, but from other shooters. That's one reason I mostly test on private property now, so I don't have to put up with that shit and that level of danger. And honestly, just in consideration. I don't know specifically of that situation, but he and I, no, it was Jardine and I were testing the Barrett M82A1. We were shooting at 100 yards, and some guy who had drove up to check with us, which was cool. We visited with him. He seemed like a really nice guy. He's like, okay, I'm going to go set up over here. I'll just be a little bit. He set up right about at the 1:30, 2 o'clock position of where we were shooting, sorting his gear. He was there for like 45 minutes while we were testing 100-yard shooting with a Barrett, a 50 caliber rifle. This dumbass, and I think I have a photo, sets up right there. And Jardine and I were like, what the hell? This guy seemed cool, and here he is, and he has his friends coming out talking. We had to wait till he cleared out because we couldn't reset the range. Rant complete, but shoot on private land, that's what I do. It takes me longer to get there. It's more expensive for me. I will continue to do so, though. Thank you for your support. Here's Sean's accuracy with the Ruger S-FAR. Remington Core-Locked, very similar to mine, a little bit better, though. That's a great round, by the way. A great round. Great hunting round, POU-wise, if you've decided to hunt with your Ruger S-FAR. Hornady American Whitetail. That usually shoots much better than that. Yeah, like that. That's better. American Eagle. Wow, that's a good group, Sean. Well done. And then PMC Bronze, also shooting. This target is what I'm going to use as reference of what you can expect out of your S-FAR with very excellent shooting. Sean's an excellent shooter. And with a stable platform, expect 2 MOA. Called it. It's a 2 MOA gun. And getting back to the American Rifleman article, guess what? Also 2 MOA. That's what they shot. A little bit over. I think they got like 2.2 inches in aggregate shooting theirs. And that is on par with other AR-10 platforms. Now, I shot my PA-10 yesterday, the one you just saw, this one right here. And I didn't really realize it. My Kinetitech, is that what that's called? It's like it's a sound forward cup on it. This was loose. I didn't realize it. So these aren't as accurate as they should have been probably. This is what I got from that gun. Atomic shooting about the same. Geico shooting about the same. Gecko. I'm calling it Geico. Gecko is what I should have called it. Sorry. Yeah, so it's shooting about the same. A little bit worse in some situations. Yeah, it's on par. Accurate enough for me? Listen, man, I'm a stickler when it comes to accuracy. I want 1.5 MOA or better out of any AR platform. I ain't going to lie. That's what I want. And I'm a little surprised that 5R rifling and the barrel quality that is apparently in the Ruger small frame auto-loading rifle didn't do better. I'm a little bit surprised. But, yeah, I'll take it. I think in future versions, keep the barrel short, tighten up your accuracy, Ruger, whatever you need to do. Yeah, so there you have it. Would I integrate a Ruger SFAT, SFART, SFAR into my own system? The answer is absolutely yes. It is a recommend. You team peers who have purchased it already, rest at ease. You don't have to get rid of it. What you might see is a glut of regular AR-10s coming to market now. Guys are going to say, you know what? I'm going to go with a sub 7 pound AR-10. I'm going to get rid of my 12 pound AR-10. I think that is already happening. You're going to see that continue to go. Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you, this does have a titanium firing pin in it, which is pretty cool. One of the things I forgot. Yes, I would purchase and integrate an SFAR into my system. Ruger, you did a great job with it. Even though you may have copied some elements, that's okay. That's okay. The market is better for it. We have a reasonably priced sub 7 pound AR-10 that is very exciting. As exciting as seeing that biplane cross in front of us in 1917. Our mouths were agape. We couldn't believe what we were seeing. We can't believe this has happened. Yay! Yeah, I am excited. On the table, the Boker Desert Dagger. Once again, beautiful knife. Beautiful knife. I'll put a link to it if they still have them at Pro2A. Blade HQ. I just love this one. This is my original one that I reviewed in 2008, by the way. Cast member. Hamilton, Swiss-produced watch. Khaki field. This is the large variation. There are some links below that will take you to amazingly priced, pure Swiss, Hamilton sapphire crystal, either automatic or hand-wound khaki fields. The 42 millimeter variation of this one below. Buy with confidence. Great watch. Just love it. So fun. So fun. Then the Deep Blue Master 1000. Epic, epic dive watch. One of my all-time favorites. And then, of course, our Cadet. And we're done, boys. The Ruger SFAR is here. We are excited. It does have my stamp of approval. I do love it so much. Come back again. We'll see it in action here in the project. Maybe in some drills. Maybe some Soldier Boy action. You know what? Maybe if I do Red Skies again, I'll take the SFAR. That would be a good gun to take. Views-wise, the last Soldier Boys tanked, so I'm not super motivated to do it again anytime soon. Watch a lot. Watch all my videos. Hit the subscribe button, the notification bell, please, and become a donor. Stay there for the rest of your life. Nothing fancy. Trucking on. The best is yet to come. Just like this review. New trigger in it, POF 4.5 pound. Thing's been shooting pretty good. What a combo this is. Wicked. optics are going to stay on this.